5.
210.
1,791.
A million.
A billion?
This is Improv in Real Life. I'm Jude Treder-Wolff. In this podcast, we'll explore how improv can help us navigate the speed of life through conversations with experts who are wise, hilarious, and deeply human.
I'm at JFK Airport at 11:30 on a Monday night in August of 2005. And I've traveled in and out of JFK many, many times. It's always intense and buzzy and well lit. And this is exactly the opposite. JFK on this particular night is deserted. Everything is closed. The only lights are near the windows, near that bank of phones that used to exist in 2005 before Uber existed and iPhones existed. There was this bank of phones that you would call to get an airport shuttle or call somebody for a ride. I'm walking toward this bank of phones with a mix of exhaustion, just utter fatigue, jet lag, because this is the tail end of a trip after 3 weeks that my husband and I took from Brisbane to Sydney to LA, where we left Sunday at 11 a.m. and we arrived at 11 a.m. in LA, which is very fun. And you see 2 sunsets and 2 sunrises. It's amazing. And then waited around in LA for a delayed flight to JFK. We've done this before, so I knew that we were going to be not fit to drive the 1 hour to home, and I had set this up perfectly. I paid a lot of money I usually wouldn't spend, on a limousine service that would wait for us and pick us up when we got our bags and drive us home, just us. So I feel really confident about this last leg of the trip, and somehow our bags got there 3 hours ahead of us, no idea why. And so we end up in this terminal where we've got all these bags, we're late, and we go to this bank of phones to call, "We're there for you, limo," airport service, and they don't answer. And I go to another phone of theirs down another end of the terminal. They don't answer. 30 minutes go by. In my fatigue, the jet lag is really setting in. I feel like I'm hallucinating. I can't believe this is happening. We have no way to reach these people except these phones, and they're not answering. Suddenly I hear my husband down the other end of the terminal, because we've kind of taken over the place, and he's talking to someone. So I run down there, and as I approach, he's saying, "But wait, I thought we prepaid for this and the guy was supposed to be waiting for us." And I say, "Let me talk to her. I set this up." And I grab the phone and she says, "Don't use that tone with me." And I'm completely thrown. Like, what? What? She's mad at me? And she goes, "We have the same information you have. We know that your flight was delayed, but you didn't call us when you landed. So the guy left." And I'm thinking, what? It took us a long time to find our bags, but you're supposed to be what? I can't understand what's happening. I am outraged that she's talking to me like this. I'm angry that I'm in this situation in the first place, but I also know they somehow messed up and she is not going to admit to it. And that if this woman hangs up, she is not going to pick up when I call back. So I feel like I'm the hostage and the hostage negotiator. She's the hostage taker, and I have to somehow get her on my side. And all of these feelings flit through in microseconds in my fatigue jet lag brain. And I say to her, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to yell at you. I'm so sorry. I'm just thrown by this. And honestly, it's really scary here. It's dark. And I think I hear people in the background talking, and we are jet lagged. I'm just so sorry I took it out on you." And there's a pause. And then she says, "Oh, yeah, I can imagine it's scary there. I can totally imagine it." And I go, "Yeah, it's dark. And even in the parking lot, there's no cabs, nothing. And, we did pay for this service, so I thought there'd be a car waiting for us." Long pause. And she says, "Hold on a minute. There's a guy cashing out right now at the end of his shift." She comes back. She goes, "He's going to come and get you." And I say, "Oh, God, thank you so much." And even though I know she's in the wrong and she's never going to admit it, and we're going to pay extra because we're going to tip this guy $100 for going out of his way at the end of his shift to come and pick us up, I don't care. We get home safely. And I'm so grateful for my improv training, because seriously, I would not have been able to shift gears that quickly from the reality that I thought I was going to be in and expected to be in to the reality that I was actually in, which is I needed this woman to get on my side. And that worked out. That's emotional intelligence improv training that I had been using with my own clients and in trainings that I had done. And it really mattered when I was at this vulnerable point. So I'm so excited to share this conversation I had with Dr. Elaina DellaCava. She's a psychiatrist with Weill Cornell. She also teaches improv for mental health and self-development. She uses improv in her clinical work and uses improv to help people grow their emotional intelligence, strengthen their mental health, and have a lot of fun while doing it. I hope you enjoy. If you enjoy stories like this, head over to Spotify and check out Funny Story with Jude Treder-Wolff. They're true stories from my life, often told live on stage. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is brought to you by LifeStage. LifeStage provides opportunities for people to gain skills and knowledge for navigating today's uncertain world. The capacity for creativity, connection to new ideas and other people, collaboration, and community building. For more information, visit lifestage.me.
I'm so excited to welcome my guest today, Dr. Elaina DellaCava. Thank you, Dr. DellaCava, for coming on the pod. I'm excited to talk about the work that you're doing using improv for personal development.
Oh, Jude, it's my pleasure. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
And may I call you Elaina?
Absolutely. Yes. When I play improv, when I teach improv classes with Improvolution, I'm introduced. My co-teacher is Dr. Elaina DellaCava, and then everyone calls me Elaina for the purposes of the class. I want everyone to be comfortable. And also I'm wearing my psychiatrist hat, but also my improv play partner hat.
Well, I love a lot of things about that. And one of them is, if you're familiar with Viola Spolin work and, the origins of improv in her work in settlement houses and all of that, one of her objectives was to neutralize some of the authoritarian or just authoritative structures, right? So in improv, we do that a lot. People don't say, oh, I do this for a living. I never do in any of the classes I've ever been in, do we sit and say, oh, this is what I do for work, and this is what I do for work. We just are human beings in this room doing this thing together that neutralizes a lot of that status and label stuff. So it really is great for you to be, Elaina, in an improv group, even though we all have the full respect for you as a doctor.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. When we start our classes, we never ask people, what do you do for a living? We ask, why did you sign up for improv for mental health? What are you hoping to get out of today? Or even just something, what superpower would you want to have if you could have one today? Just to kind of shed their daily responsibilities, right? And to put themselves in a different state of mind. If you could have a superpower today, Jude, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, what a great question. Today, now, because this could change from day to day, couldn't it? It
Yes.
absolutely could. If I had a superpower for today, it would be I would be a super nerd that could read. People might, if you know me, this isn't weird for me, but I'm working on a piece of writing. And it's about improv and improv impact on your brain and your personality. Well, it's not just your brain, but how it changes your brain and how when you change your brain, it changes the way you are in the world. So my superpower would be that I could read super fast, absorb it, have a Superman level of absorption, and then a super creative side that could just channel that into these articles that I'm working on.
Oh, I love it. So it's actually taking your strengths and the different things that you like to be doing, but sort of allowing yourself to do different processes simultaneously.
You got it. Dr. Elaina DellaCava, what would be your superpower if you had one today?
So today, because sometimes mine is flying, but that's not where I am today. Today, I think in a similar vein as you, I would like to be able to be in multiple places at once. So if part of me could be dropping my kids at school, part of me could be here right now, part of me could be getting my nails done, right? Just accomplishing different things that I want to be doing, but I'm still getting to do all of them and be present at all.
Oh my gosh, that you could be sort of cloned, but in a great way.
Cloned in a great way. And I'm aware of each of the things I'm doing. So I get to experience them all.
Wow, that is an amazing superpower.
I know. Yeah.
I love the imagining of that. Did you ever see the movie Multiplicity with Michael Keaton?
I did see that movie, yes.
And every new version of him is weaker and weirder. It's so funny.
Yes. Yeah, no, we don't want that to happen. You have to be careful what you wish for, that old adage. Yes.
Right. And look, this is improv. So we're going to make these multiple Elaina selves perfect, all exactly how you want them to be.
Exactly. It's of our own design. So that's right.
That's right. So that's a really fun way to start a group because you get to know something about people's concerns and their priorities and their dreams and wants.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very fun. I was excited when I found that you and the people at Improvolution are doing improv classes that you call a whole category of personal development. Most improv is taught just for improv's sake, which is great. And then for me, I would take that when I started many years ago and translate that into applications of improv for real life purposes, but I would use it in my work. Like I would translate that for therapy, like a social worker who's doing group work, say, how you could take those exercises and translate them into lubricating the communication in your group, connecting people to each other, helping them support each other and find what's good about each other and so on, all that, and opening up the imagination. But you guys are doing improv for personal development on a range of different categories, which is really exciting.
It is. It is. Because I think we all know if we've done improv, if we're improvisers, we know the benefits that we can derive from improv. We just sort of feel it, and inherently and organically we experience it, and then it applies to our lives. So why not help people if they have an identified need already, or if they're able to go on the website and see, wow, I am feeling sort of stuck recently in my life. I'd like to take a class that would help me think about ways to open up and feel more productive and sort of more fluid. Or my mental health, I have been feeling more overwhelmed or more anxious or more fearful about the future. If there's a class that could target this, but it's a class where I get to act and play, like, let me check that out. And so I think it really speaks to our population and what people are looking for these days.
Absolutely. In times like this, where change is happening very fast and a lot of change is painful. Even things like this sounds so dumb with all the stresses of real life. This really is going to sound very superficial and dumb, but I am relating it back to things that I get attached to. But 3 of my favorite restaurants closed. And I have like a lot of food allergies. So there are certain restaurants that I could always rely on. Oh, if I'm on the East Side or wherever I am in Manhattan, I know where I can go. And when those restaurants closed, it meant a lot of things. So it meant a lot of losses, just sort of associated losses, and that things feel a little bit out of control. Like you could land on that. Oh, I'm used to the Candle Cafe, for example. It was so wonderful and fun and inventive. And that closing. So even something like that, I would find just reminds you that life is unpredictable. There's so much uncertainty and we feel it. And then I've observed going through some of the most painful times of my life that being in an improv class and the focus that it takes to play the games, a lot like playing a baseball game or any other game, learning those skills is very focusing of your mind and your body and your emotions all at once.
Yes. Absolutely. When I started taking improv classes, before I was an improv teacher, I took classes, and it started when I was in residency. I was in my intern year at Montefiore Hospital, and I said, I want to play and do some theater work, but I'm busy. I don't necessarily have time to commit to memorizing a script and being in a play. So I dropped in on some improv classes, and what I found, some days I felt a little more stressed. I felt, do I have the time? I'm sort of tired from my workday, but I would get to the class and I was amazed by how quickly the day would sort of melt away. And I was just present in the room playing with these other people. And I would walk out energized and lighter. And that actually translated beyond that evening. I felt, as I did it consistently, that I was just more present and thinking and listening and thinking at a higher percentage than I was before. And that's what made me really interested in using improv and translating it into games and exercises that I could do with patients, with students who are learning how to become doctors. It's been such a joy to have in my life.
Well, I'm excited to hear that you're using it in training other doctors and younger medical professionals coming up, younger meaning just in in their professional life,
Yeah.
not young. Yeah.
Also often younger.
Well, and yeah, I didn't mean that in any weird kind of ageist kind of way. I'm, definitely on the other side of life when it comes to training people that are just starting out in the field, and I've been in it for 40 years, right? So for me, it's like, oh, if only I wish so much I had this kind of training when I was younger in the field. Now, I'll just say about myself, I was trained as a music therapist. That was my first degree. I worked 8 years as a music therapist in psychiatry, and music therapy has a lot of improvisational aspects to it because and I'm a singer, so we would use vocal improvisation, but we would sing songs that exist, but if we couldn't find a song to express what someone was going through, we would make the song. And having the skills to be able to structure a song on the spot, work with people where they were in their emotional state as they were right from the jump, for me was natural because that was my job. But taking it out of the music realm, I found a difficult transition. Without the music, it was just me.
Right.
And that's really, for me, it was a great learning to say, oh, can I translate, just use myself in that way? Well, that's where all these other skills that we learn in improv right from the start are about using ourselves in a way as if we are the music, in a way. We're generating this energy with another person or a group, and it exists and you can't put your finger on it. But that's the thing that you walk out of that room feeling transformed by that.
Absolutely. It's so beautifully put. I love it. Yeah.
I think you have a game that we could do that's about that kind of presence.
I do. I do have a sort of a perfect game for this. It's called Last Letter, Last Sound. I always laugh because improv games often, the title of the game sort of gives away what you'll be doing. So you and I will be saying words that start with the last letter or the last sound of the word that the other person just said. So in this game, we'll go back and forth. When I say last letter, last sound, I say that because people spell things differently. And so we want people to have a choice. So for example, if I said cough, the last letter is H, but the last sound is that F sound. So you could pick a word that starts with H or a word that starts with a F sound. So if I said cough, what might you say?
Frankfurter.
Frankfurter. Round.
Drum.
Mary.
Enough.
Harry.
11.
No.
Okay.
Yo-yo.
Odor.
Random.
Michael.
Lollipop.
Pepsi.
Igor. Okay, so how does that feel so far? Just starting playing the game.
It's fun. Well, it's fun, very focusing.
Mm-hmm.
It's very mentally focusing, which I love. I love everything else just goes away. It's kind of like skiing. Like you do it or you'll die. But what's good, you do it and don't think about anything else. But I love that if you commit to it, there's a narrowing of focus in a positive way, not in a stressful way. And I like that you explained that you could either use the sound or the spelling, because I am a real spelling nerd, and some people are and some people are not at all.
Exactly. Right. And we don't want that to trip people up, right? If they're not quite sure how it ends. Mm-hmm.
Also, the word no, for example, has two different spellings.
True.
K-N-O-W or N-O. And my brain did a real quick, which one do I like? I actually asked myself, there was a little pauses. Do I like the W or do I like the O? Because they both are legitimate by the rules of the game. So that's fun because it leaves a little flexibility there. Mm-hmm. And you just have to make a choice, and there's no wrong choice.
Right. Exactly. There's not a wrong choice, and there's not one word that's better than the other. There's not a bad word, right? Because sometimes people get into their heads about, did I pick a good word? Did I pick a funny word? And there's absolutely nothing you say that could be considered incorrect.
So let's just unpack this a little bit in terms of like working with a group. For example, this game using word, there's no time of listening to a sentence. You're just listening for that. It's very rapid fire.
Yes.
And I think that's a really good one. It's a good one to really get into the space and out of your head, because all you can do is focus on the other person and what they're saying, and let your brain do what it naturally is. It's like, we want to get it right. People tend to want to get it right.
Exactly. And you can't predict. You can't sit there and say to yourself, okay, when it's my turn, I'm going to say Cheerios next, or I'm going to say accordion next. You have to wait until the word is said. And we often sometimes we play it with just two people. You can actually play it with yourself. If you're walking down the street, you could just do last letter, last sound with your own brain. We often do it in a big circle. So people are going around the circle and they're listening and they're present and they can't be planning ahead. It really does require you to listen to the person who's going to give you the word. And the feedback I give people is to look in the eyes. And that's one of the tenets of improv, right? Eye contact. 80% of our communication is nonverbal. In this game, people often do something I call an eye rainbow. They will look up at the ceiling and think that the word is somehow up in the ether, right? That will generate the word. And we tease them. Rebecca Stewart, who's the director at Improvolution, will tease them and say, the answer is not up there. The answer is in your partner's eyes. And it really does help. So if we do another round and we focus on that eye contact, the word often comes to people's minds faster. Also, there's no good or bad. There's no judgment associated with a word. We call this game elephant sometimes because so many words end with the L or the E sound that elephant is sometimes said like 20 times in a round of the game. And that's perfectly fine. There's no rule that you can't repeat words. So it's also just sort of letting go of your own self-judgment about a good or a bad word or a funny word. I have one other variant of playing this if you are interested.
Tell me everything. Yes, I'm in.
Okay. So in this variant, do you remember the Fonz from Happy Days, or is that sort of a dated reference? You remember him?
100%, yes.
Okay.
So also, I'm from Wisconsin. They lived in Milwaukee. I know it all.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't necessarily even have to be the Fonz. I think being New Yorkers, we all kind of know, that character, right? On Sunday, they're sitting with their family, they're having Sunday dinner. Whatever comes out of their pie hole is correct. No one's questioning themselves. It's Sunday dinner. And
you got it.
Exactly. So you and I are going to play another round, last letter, last sound, and we're going to give that same energy as the Fonz. You start this time.
Okay, the word is saint.
Tomorrow.
What?
Today.
You.
Round.
Don't.
2.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful.
Life.
Egg.
Gee. Huh?
Hero.
Okay.
Kangaroo.
Oh.
Excellent. Very good. How did that round feel? How did it feel to do it that way?
I felt like I did 3 different accents.
Mine was switching too, for sure. Also, the accents really don't matter, right? It's more the kind of persona. How did it feel to put on the persona?
So fun. And it's another level of getting out of the worry about the rules and stuff. Yeah, it's another level of making it so light and buoyant. And we're still on the same page and we're still in the same lane.
Right.
You know what I love about both levels of this game in terms of working with people who maybe think improv is about, they see brilliant improv on stage or something like that, and they think, I could never do that. And of course, what we're doing is just as much fun as what those people are doing on stage. All that it is practice.
Right.
Or that you're supposed to be, in order to do this right, like sort of clever and funny. And
right.
We're never going to get that kind of the improv level of fun by trying to be funny. Never going to happen.
Yes, exactly. I love that. Mm-hmm.
And what you were saying about how it works, what makes it really successful is if I look at you and I take my cues from you and I absorb if I really focus on you, that's what we're training people to do, to be really focused on your partners. Right. That's how we get out of our head. And that can grow into so many areas of real life, to actually be present with other people.
Yeah, that helps me as a clinician, right? And when I was learning to be a therapist, right? Just thinking about being present. And because in life, conversations don't go the way we anticipate. For me as a therapist, I might enter a session with a client expecting it to go one way, and there's a pivot, things go a completely different direction. And so my improv training in thinking on my feet, which is what we're doing in this game, not anticipating, not necessarily having an agenda, just sort of being open and present with the other person and realizing that having the eye contact, having the connection, I'm here, right? I'm not out there. I'm not thinking about what I have to do next. I'm not thinking about what I did before. I'm just here in this space with this person right now.
Yes. And as a clinician, in an individual setting or with people in a group, we truly don't know what's going to come up. That's a fact. We just don't. And the readiness to respond as things emerge, it can mean I mean, this is a very special skill because the longer you do this kind of work and you hear more stories and you hear more things, and then you have your own life and your own things that we're going through, that we have to put that to the side. That's the only way you can actually do the work, is to not have your own stuff. But I could also feel myself when I'm stressed in life. It's not a conscious thing, but I'll become conscious of, oh, I'm somehow not absorbing what this person is bringing up. But it could be in the moment that these skills make it less likely that we're going to fog out because something overwhelms us, or something is just not what we expected. It's just not what you're saying this today, but we're able to it cultivates that muscle so that it's more available to us even when we're under stress.
Exactly. And did you find that it was easier or harder or about the same to generate a word when you were putting on that sort of confident character?
I think it was a little more. Well, I was probably subtly judging myself about whether I was doing the character. So that could have been a level of like, well, that wasn't in the voice or the character that we were trying to do. So there was a little bit of that, which is also a useful thing to debrief with folks.
Right. And, it's interesting because people have different answers to that question. Some people say, gosh, it felt easier putting on the character because I'm acting confident. So, and it's also a little humorous, right? Suddenly banana becomes banana and people sort of have fun with it, right? And some people say, I found it easier to think of a word when I was acting super confident, which is an important takeaway because sometimes, and Viola Spolin talked about this, if we act as if we're confident, it can help us to feel and believe we're more confident. So putting on that kind of tough, confident Bronx guy, whatever he is, persona can be beneficial in that way. We're also playing with character, which adds a level of complexity. And I think, especially for someone brand new to improv or early in improv, to realize, wow, I can play a game where I'm generating something off the top of my head and I'm playing with a character. And it's like 20 minutes into my first improv class. How cool is that?
Right. And that someone could say, oh, I can do this.
Yes.
I just flowed right into it.
Exactly.
And had a lot of fun with it. And it is, and then you have this room full of people doing this very silly thing that actually has a lot of sophistication to it, sophisticated brain firings that are new. And we've also gone into the unfamiliar, saying, oh, can you try this? Yeah, I'll try it. And people who've that's why it's a wonderful exercise for people to realize I can do this. And if I can do this thing that I didn't think I'd be able to pull off if you told me ahead of time, what else am I capable of?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a confidence booster for sure. And it's also something we can do, as we said, on our own. As you're walking down the street, you can do it with a friend, you could do it with a partner, you could do it with your kids, just to play this game of last letter, last sound, and thinking on your feet and getting used to rolling with whatever pops into your head. And a tip to play it is sometimes if you're not sure what word you'll say, if you just start saying the letter, like if you said rolling to me, so it's G, I might say golden, right? If you just start, it's on your tongue, it can sometimes help the word to come out.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I think that that's something that people do think you have to know ahead of time. My brain was searching probably a little bit more during this game because I wanted to be more Fonzie-ish. I actually had that want. And typically in improv, I wouldn't, but I was a little bit more aware of it because I wanted to be Fonzie-ish. As soon as you have a want of something to come across in a certain way, and there's a ton to talk about that in therapy as well, we're preparing and planning something so that we'll make a certain kind of impression. Very common human thing to want. And at the same time, and this is why I'm glad we're talking about it, because what people often think is an improv is that there's this double pressure to have that impression management thing going on and create and be original. Well, no, it's not true. We're letting go of that impression management thing. And there might be a little resistance to that. There might be a little like, don't let it go. You'll be funnier if you do it the old way. And then later on, as people do more and more exercises, realize I cannot hold on to that impression management. It's impossible.
Exactly.
I'm going to go with this new way of thinking. And what Robert Pointer, this wonderful book called Act Your Way into a New Way of Thinking. Act yourself into a new way of thinking. And it was at a conference, when you get your goodie bag, he gave the book out as a freebie to everybody. And I've used that line 1,000 or more times with people that I work with. Act yourself into a new way of thinking. In regular life, we try to understand something in order to say yes to it. But in improv, like with the game you just led us through, we say yes in order to understand it, or in order to understand, or in order to come up with something. So when you said like make the G sound, we might not know what the word is going to be, but we're going to say yes to the whole thing, and then something emerges. That's a big surprise to our cognitive brain because we think we have to think of everything.
Exactly. Right. And sometimes having the word leads to the thought, and cognitive behavioral therapy is sort of based on this, right? Like acting yourself into, say the quote again,
act yourself into a new way of thinking.
Act yourself into a new way of thinking. Behaviorally activate yourself into a new way of thinking, right?
Yeah, you just described that, like being confident, acting confident, some idea will come. That if you try to think of the idea, you might get jammed up and go, well, that's not really confident.
Right.
But if we act confident, I love your example of make the G sound and then some word will come.
It will. It will. Yes.
So I know you have another game for us to do that's about making this shift out of overthinking and so on.
Absolutely. Okay. So the next game is called Fast Five. Have you ever played a Fast Five before?
Describe it to me. I think this is a new version of it for me.
Okay, cool. So with Fast Five, the person teaching the class will give a category. Each person gets their own category. And so I'll say list 5 things that I'll give you one in a second. And as you're naming 5 things, you'll count them on your fingers and everyone else in the group will count along with you. So we're there counting. For example, if it was 5 things you might find in your trunk, I would say, boots, my old clothes from yesterday, my puppy's toys, a shovel, and a glove. Fast 5. We'll all say Fast 5 together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Do you want to do one?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool. All right. So Jude, please give me 5 bad birthday gifts.
A cruise ticket, a hat that I would never wear, sunblock, a gift certificate to Amazon. I'm off Amazon. An interior decorator.
Fast 5.
I was blanking completely. I couldn't think of 5 bad birthday gifts. I love all birthday gifts.
Right. And here's the thing. It doesn't have to be true, right? No one's going to quiz you afterwards and say, are those really the worst ones you could have thought of, Jude? It's the first 5 things. I don't really have dogs' toys. I don't have a shovel. The shovel sounds a little sinister. I don't know if I have that in my trunk right now. I do in the winter, but we're just trying to think of 5 things as quickly as we can. And usually by about 3 things, it becomes much harder. Those last couple we're having to dig, and that makes it a little bit more challenging. Can I give you another one?
Yeah.
Okay. And just go with whatever pops into your head, whether it logically makes sense or not, whether it's true or not, just the first 5 things that you think of. Okay. Ready? Okay. 5 reasons to break up with someone.
They're a psychopath. They hate your mother. They eat food off of your plate. They say they trash talk you to their friends. They are a fan of music that you hate.
Fast 5.
Fast 5.
How did it feel to do that one? That came out quicker. Maybe it was the topic.
That came out quicker. I don't know what the bad birthday gifts I just got in my head a little bit, but you know what? The exercise, it's so good because it makes you aware of like kind of what's the rusty hinge and why do I have that? It's all good. It's all useful. So I'm going to give you one.
Please give me one. Yep.
All right. I'm going to give you one. I'm going to say 5 worst things to have for dinner.
Okay. Waffles, something heavy that will give me indigestion, sprinkles with whipped cream, anything that involves sausage and turkey.
Fast 5.
Thank you very much. I had a gentleman in one of my classes list 5 things you wear on your head. And he started off with, hat, bonnet, earmuffs. And the last one he said was tree. And we all clapped and said fast 5. And then he said afterwards when we were debriefing, I don't know why I said tree. And it was okay. We all clapped and we went with it. So how did it feel to play that?
Yes. Well, thank you for giving that last example about the person with the tree, because it's so true. If I were running the class and somebody said tree was what you wear on your head, I'd be like, great. But when I was doing the game and I said interior designer for a
Right.
bad birthday gift,
Right.
it's because, yeah, there's context like I think my house isn't good enough or something. Like there's a whole lot of layers to that.
Like that would be an insult if someone
It
gave
would
it to you.
be
Like, what?
exactly. It would be
Right.
like, what?
Right.
But I'm telling you, that stuff happens so fast in
Totally.
a person's brain. Oh, that would be a bad birthday gift because it would mean that, you looked better in these pants. It's so weird and dumb, but it's very revealing. And I'm saying in a therapeutic context, not in a straight up improv group, of course, you don't get into all that stuff. You just play the game and you say, we all support you 100% in letting yourself say what came to mind and trusting that we were going to support you. That I think is such an amazing therapeutic element of improv. In an actual therapy session, if you played, I could see doing this in a group, particularly where the group would 100% support you with a fast five, yay, and getting excited about whatever it is what you said. And then unpacking, like I just did, you know what? That one got me into my insecurities a little bit for some reason.
Right. Totally. And you can do a fast five that outside of a group setting where you're just playing with your family or your kids. What are 5 things you say to the Queen of England? What are 5 things that you might teach a dog to do? Or it could be a little deeper, like what you just suggested, doing it in a therapy group. Someone's trying to make a big life decision. Okay, what are 5 reasons to move to California? Tell me, what are 5 reasons not to? And the interesting thing that could come up is, wow, I said that and I sort of surprised myself. Do I feel that way? Was I trying that on for size? Like, let me understand what popped into my head and where it might be coming from. And it's, if it resonates or if it doesn't, if it's like, I said that and actually that's not really landing with me at all. It could be really interesting to unpack.
I just want to give a quick, like a yes and to what you just said about using this in a therapeutic context. So I wasn't doing this exact game, although now, of course, I will. But I've done it as well, a little variation on it. But what I like about what you're doing is we would just do a category of things and you say whatever comes to mind and just demonstrate that the group is all with you and all that. But this has got a layer of context to it. So like 5 things you wouldn't teach a dog to do. You wouldn't teach a dog to use your credit card or, just something silly. They could be like super silly things. You could say almost anything. At the same time, I was just going to mention that this person that I was working with in a group was struggling with a decision that her daughter had made about which college to go to. And she had all these conflicting wants for her kid, like you do. And she was just having trouble admitting that she did not want, so we were doing like 3 reasons she should do that because it was her daughter's decision, but she had to deal with it. So it was like the group was saying, give us 3 reasons for her to go to this school and 3 reasons to go to that school. So it was kind of a variation of this in a therapeutic way. 3 this, 3 this, 3 this, and that gave some structure to it. And there was one where she just got so emotional and she said, if she chooses that one, she's never going to be home for weekends. And she started getting into her grief as a mom that this was really happening. And it wasn't about the choice of the school as much as it was about, this is a change that is irrevocable. She's growing up. And it wasn't, one school was further away than another, but it tapped into the truth by playing this with the group's support. She was able to get safely to this real emotional well of stuff that she was having trouble admitting, because it felt like I'm not supporting my daughter if I admit that I have a lot of grief about her growing up.
Yeah. It's so not about the school. It's not about, yes, the geography, sure, one is a little farther, but it's really about, now my son is graduating preschool on Friday, which is a much different version of this, but similarly, right? Like
it is is not my son. He's not even my grandson. He's my nephew's son, but I love him so much. And he's graduating kindergarten and I'm in my feels.
Absolutely in your feels. And, and that'll translate into another game we're going to play actually, but sort of sometimes we don't realize we're in our feels. I didn't realize it about my son graduating preschool until we went to his summer birthday celebration because his birthday's in August. So they celebrated with cupcakes before the end of preschool because he won't be there when his birthday comes. And we sang happy birthday because he'll turn 5 in August. And they gave me a picture of him and it said happy birthday. And on the back, it was pictures that they took of him throughout the school year. And we walked out of the building and I was just tearful. And I told my husband, I just didn't realize how much it was impacting me that he's going to leave this place and he's turning 5 and just this milestone of He's still little, of course, but he's moving on and there's a transition happening. And two different things can be true at the same time, right? I'm so happy and excited about it, and I'm sentimental about it. And it's an ending of something that we started a few years ago.
This is it. I mean, being able to talk about that, get in touch with it. It sometimes feels like we're betraying people in a way. I have this group that I've had since 1990.
Wow.
And these were when I started with these women, they were young parents of young kids, and they all were dealing with some kind of addiction in their family. So that was the bond. It grew to like 15 people, and then we've lost people. But now there's a group of 4 core people that meet once a month, and we meet over Zoom, and their spouses are sick and dying. Their kids, they have grandkids with issues. So they always are going to have things to talk about over the course of your whole life. So here they are later in, they're dealing with selling their homes, downsizing, and these issues of the same thing about doing your own work so that we don't impose on other people what their choices mean to us. Right. So now the kids don't visit maybe as often as they would like, or they have to accept that when they were busy moms, they didn't visit their parents as much as they wish their kids visited them. Exactly. There's a lot to talk about in your 80s. There's a lot to deal with.
Yes, I'm a geriatric psychiatrist.
Oh, I forgot about that. Of course.
Well, I do adult and geri, but there is so much. It's such a rich and meaningful time of life to engage in psychotherapy because, there's these questions of transitions, whether it be retirement, whether it be my friends are moving away, people are getting sick and passing away. What's my legacy? What do I want it to be? Am I living my life in the way that I want to, given all my experiences up to this point? And I think, one of the beautiful things about being older, and again, we're going a little off topic, but it's just, you have the wisdom and the perspective and the context. So you're able to really apply all of that into, the decisions you're making now, into the self-awareness. And I actually think it can be a great age to try improv for the first time. I do improv with seniors out at senior centers. I do it at Weill Cornell, at the Center on Aging. And one of the things I hear from seniors is, gosh, I feel like I'm learning a lot, and also I'm playing.
I love that you're bringing improv to people wherever they are in their stage of life, because the creative resource that is in us we can tap it at any point in time. And we always need it, whether you're raising kids or you're letting your kids raise their own kids and keeping your mouth shut.
Absolutely.
While they do things you don't agree with, or have your own, medical issues. And I have found that improv is very useful for helping people speak up in, say, a medical situation or a situation where decisions are being made.
Yes.
And there's sort of this ageist kind of, let me speak for them thing that will happen.
Absolutely.
And that we can always be creative. We can always be imagining ourselves into another version of ourselves. We can always grow. And that's one of the reasons I love this group that I have, because I've known them since their 40s. So it's just wild to me. Yeah.
There's so many different transitions and stages of their lives. How rewarding. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I'm so excited that you use improv in geriatric psychiatry. That's fantastic. Well, we need to do at least one more game, I think.
Absolutely. Let's do it. I have a game called Emotional Numbers. Have you heard of it? You've done it? Yeah.
Well, I heard you describe it, and now I'm going to hear it for the first time.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Again, the name of the game is pretty much what we're going to be doing. So, Jude, our dialogue in this game, we're just going to be saying random numbers back and forth to each other, a different number each time. So, and the number has there's no meaning to it, right? And it could be anything that pops into your head. So it could be 6, it could be negative 1,000, it could be 0.1. It's just to give you something to say. We will be saying the numbers back and forth, and we will say them with an emotion that Natalie has generously agreed to lend to us. But I'd like to say, as an improv, if we're conveying an emotion, we really want to be clear, because our partner's mirroring us always. So we want to really make sure we're expressing the emotion as much as we can, right? So if we're going to be sad, we're very sad. 45. Right. So we're really going to try to express it to the full extent that we can at a 10 out of 10. Some emotions might be actual emotions. Some might be points of view. Like, we're skeptical. That might be something that we're conveying. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So Natalie will give us an emotion. We'll go back and forth a few times, and then she'll call out a different one, and then we'll switch to that emotion. I'll start when you give us the emotion.
Okay, perfect. Let's start with confused.
16?
43.
12?
110.
9?
20. 20?
Secretly think you're better than everyone else.
37.
26.
100.
50.
2.
65.
Scared.
101.
1,162.
99.
What? 52.
37.
110.
38.
Disappointed.
2.
18.
Oh. 63.
1.
99.
1010.
93.
Suspicious.
42.
71.
6.
12.
Huh. 3.
25.
8.
Cheerful.
28.
71.
91.
16.
1,162.
98.
105.
81.
67.
16.
13.
Shy.
3.
20.
4.
19.
6.
42.
11.
Envious.
91.
3.
93.
4.
107.
31.
202.
8.
204.
I have a secret that you can't share.
3.
5.
210.
1,791.
A million.
A billion.
-6.
37.
108.
Oh. 97.
35.
12.
4.
Oh my God. 6.
41.
Okay, see.
That was a riot.
That was so much. I wanted to start laughing, so I had to stop the scene.
I know.
I was so glad that you had a positive secret.
I know. I guess we sort of silently agreed on that because it didn't say. It was just a secret.
I mirrored you because
Yeah.
instantly I was going to be like, secret. But then I love that you had like, oh, I can't wait. Like I'm pregnant or, something that would be like, I just
Right.
wanted to tell you, but I can't. And that
Right.
made it, that just filled it like a helium in a balloon.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that was very fun. So let's debrief this exercise because there's
Let's
so
debrief.
much
So,
in it. Yeah.
so much. So how did it feel to play? It sounds like it felt fun. You had a good time with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super fun. Navigating uncertainty in this, which I think is one of the great benefits of improv in terms of helping us deal with change. I'll do five things I love about this game.
Perfect.
Super fun, navigating uncertainty, cognitive agility, following each other and saying yes without understanding anything.
Absolutely.
5 things.
That's 5. Yes,
That's 5.
all of it. All of it. So we just put so many different pieces together, right? So we're playing with emotion, and I'll come back to that. We are navigating uncertainty because we had no idea what Natalie was going to say and what we would be doing next. We're mirroring each other. You and I, right, we silently kind of agreed on what kind of secret we had. We're feeding off of each other when we're envious and we're disappointed. We're sort of doing a mini scene by doing that. Did some emotions feel harder to convey or easier to convey than others?
For me, I found envy without context was very fun to try to convey. And I was looking at you and seeing your face and so that did help. It really helps to have a partner in this, to have 2 people doing it because we're supporting each other so much in that way. So that was interesting to like without context, and it doesn't matter how well we got it. That was a fun choice and interesting to try to convey that. What was another one? Most of them were pretty clear, I felt. Maybe suspicious was, maybe I was similar between envy and suspicious.
Like, what am I suspicious of? Yeah, like sort
right.
of
And how that gets conveyed through only voice and the tone of voice and so on. And a wonderful exercise in emotional intelligence.
Oh, say more.
Well, because emotional intelligence is about naming emotions, recognizing what they're about, and managing them. So when we can name emotions and we could say, oh, there's tones to different emotions, just like there's tones in music, there's volume, there's intensity, there's dynamics to each emotion. And emotional intelligence, we teach this at social emotional learning. I'm sure you are doing this with your own children. And of course, I've done this with teens and kids in schools, that being able to play an emotion, choose it, play it, means that we understand that emotion exists and we understand when it comes up and why it comes up, so that immediately when we're doing a game like this and we don't have language, so it's almost like a gibberish game where numbers are very easy. They're easier than gibberish because gibberish can make you self-conscious, but numbers are like easy, but there is a language to it. So at least we have something to say and to use our voice. But where the emotional intelligence piece, of course, is to recognize what an emotion feels like in your body, what it sounds like in your voice, how much energy you want to give it. And then from that, you can unpack with people like what's an appropriate expression of that emotion? Why does you feel that emotion? At any age, it's a useful thing. I think envy, maybe I picked up envy because I think that's one I'm working on myself.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. And I always ask people, which emotions felt easier? Did any feel harder? And I do this game in so many different settings. I do it with strangers who don't know each other. I did it last year with a team, one of the medical teams at Weill Cornell. Some of them are each other's supervisors. Some of them are colleagues. They're all colleagues, but some of them are mentoring or like the boss of another person. And so for some people, expressing anger in their workplace, right? Even if it's not real or directed at any, and I'll tell people when we do anger, you're not mad at each other. You're mad at the bus is late. You're mad. Something about that sometimes makes people feel self-conscious. It makes them potentially even feel unsafe, right? To allow themselves to feel that and to express it. And again, no judgment there. It's not right or wrong to feel a certain reaction to an emotion. It's about our understanding of ourselves and what feels maybe a little harder to access, easier to access, what feels a little uncomfortable, because we all have a tendency and sometimes a need, I would say, to suppress emotion. Sometimes it's not the right time or place to overtly display anger or disgust or fear. The important part, more so than expressing it the way we do in the game, is for us to know what it feels like in our body, to recognize, right? If we have a tight feeling in our chest, like, I'm feeling a little fearful right now. Or if you're feeling, a surge of something that you notice is anger, just to even tell yourself, and this could be just a thought that you have to yourself, I notice I'm feeling angry right now. I'm going to take a beat and I'm going to process it later, but I notice it. that can take some of the power away from an emotion that feels uncomfortable too. We're sort of taking it out of ourselves. Like, wow, I notice I'm feeling angry. Huh. What's that about? I'm going to unpack that later, or I'm going to take a beat to myself. So the game really is about, it's having fun, and it's also about, it's practicing. What do these emotions feel like in my body? Another element is, one emotion we sometimes depict is confidence or feeling accomplished, right? And in that one, I notice people stand up straight, they put their shoulders back. 37, right? If you have to do some public speaking or speak to a group, or you want to feel like you have some authority, it's sort of teaching us, if I act as if, like we talked about at the beginning of our conversation, if I act as if I'm confident and I do the body language and mirror someone else with that body language, I actually can, my voice will come out and I'll feel more confident. I'll sound more confident.
All these things are so valuable that you're leading, when you lead with the emotions, as you're saying, even working with a professional group of people where, being professional kind of means not even giving in a certain way to certain emotions. And yet, as human beings, all these levels of emotion could be happening at the same time. You can feel compassion for someone at the same time that you're suspicious of them.
Right.
You could feel angry with someone at the same time you feel empathy for them. All these things are true. And the game is a great game for recognizing that we do shift. We can make a rapid shift. And if we're capable of doing that in a game, we're capable of doing that in real life. And then if something needs to be tabled, I mean, as a parent, you have to do this all the time. It was something like you're worried about something, but you can't, with kids all day, and you can't tell them, or you're fearful about something, but don't want them to be afraid. All of that. And as a social worker, or when I work with people that are going through really painful things, sometimes it might evoke that same pain in me. Grief, for example, well, they're not there to deal with my grief.
To process your grief, right.
Right. So I might feel that and go, okay, like that's very raw. I'm aware of that, and I'm ready to acknowledge it. And I think that's where improv really helps to lubricate those channels internally, and then also how we express ourselves in the world, that we have choices. It isn't that we don't have to react. We can be aware of what we feel, and we can choose how we're going to express it. And especially like you're saying, like working with a professional that could have a strong reaction to something that's going on with a patient, and recognize it, table it, and then they know, oh, I've got to go and deal with that.
Exactly. Or even, let's say a conversation with a partner. You're having a conversation with your partner and you realize something happened, and you felt a reaction in your body, and to come back later and say, you know what, I didn't understand at the time, but I reflected on it. When you said this, it kicked up something in me. And I noticed I felt very defensive, or I felt very unsafe, or I felt fearful, whatever the emotion might be. And you have the power to acknowledge it. And then if you don't act on it right away, that doesn't mean you're suppressing it. It just means that you're giving yourself time to process it and to name it and reflect on it and have a dialogue about it later. You have to recognize it first in order to be able to do that. So
I've so many times in my long marriage said to my husband, I am in such a state right now, and I want to blame you, and you did nothing wrong. So take no responsibility for how moody I am right now, because if you live with somebody and you spend a lot of time with them, it's very hard not to. And I've learned to put that in words so that he doesn't think he has to fix something or apologize for something. Or sometimes I'll say, I am very mad at you, and I know you did nothing wrong. Then when I'm over it, I'm like, so this is what was bothering me, and you did nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. And having that self-awareness to be able to do that and to reassure the other person. And you have to know what you're feeling to be able to do that. So.
You do. And you're using improv in such a wonderful way. And I'm so grateful that you're putting improv out into the world of psychiatry with all different ages. I know the group you're doing for personal development. So I want to thank you for the work you're doing. I want to thank you so much for speaking and playing here today. Absolutely. And to help to get people to get on board with the idea that improv is a tool for not only having so much fun, and it's live, it's dynamic, it's what we need in a world that is increasingly technological and increasingly creates kind of our own little silos. Right. Improv is about coming together, and at the same time, you can learn so much about yourself. So it's a wonderful mix of real-time dynamic creativity, and at the same time, deep personal growth if you want to go that way. And Dr. Elaina DellaCava has got the goods. So thank you so much for bringing that to us. Tell everybody how they can find you. That'll be in the show notes, of course. But if you just want to share what you'd like to about your work and where people can find you.
Absolutely. Improvolution's website has my workshops. I teach improv for mental health. The next one is coming up in July, Thursday, July 23rd in Midtown, Manhattan. We do them periodically. We do them a few times a year. I work at Weill Cornell. I am also on Instagram at Dr. DellaCava. And there's 2 Dr. DellaCava Instagrams that we will have the correct one in the show notes.
Great. So you're good with people following you on Instagram.
I am. I have a personal Instagram that people will find that they won't be able because it's set to private. But then I actually also have a public one that I'll be putting mental health info on, information about improv for mental health. And that one is totally meant for people to follow. And I'll be sharing lots of thoughts and tips and ideas for games on it.
Perfect. We need that information.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
It's been such a joy. Thank you.
That's it for this episode of Improv in Real Life. For more info about our guests and other resources, you can visit our show notes. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please follow or subscribe wherever you listen. And if you're feeling extra generous, write us a review or share with a friend. You can also find us on Instagram at lifestage_Inc. And if you want to dive deeper into these concepts, please connect with me on Substack at Jude Treder-Wolff. We need each other now more than ever. We need creativity more than ever. I hope these games and ideas inspire you in some way. And if they do, keep it going. I will too. See you next time.